Well, hello. Time for another video lesson. And I think what I'm going to do today is talk to you a little bit about something that I'm involved in. Um, I don't normally discuss other people's business, especially clients, but this particular person asked for a reading and I decided against it. But I still am going to talk to her about the situation. And I'm going to give you the background. I'm not going to say anything about who it is. That's not really important. But what I'm going to describe to you is important because I feel like many of us are getting caught up in it and it affects our own personal energy. Several weeks ago, I was approached by this woman who had been a client and wanted to come in for a reading. When I just said automatically, I've retired from that. I'm not doing readings anymore. She says, well, I was just really wanting to get some feedback from you on such and such situation. Well, she's in a position of authority and she shares that position with several people. And this is in a business setting. She started rambling on and on about different aspects of the situation, and it was like she was just pulling information from left and right, and it was overwhelming. It was confusing, and the more she talked, the more agitated her energy got. And it wasn't that she was mad or angry or screaming or anything like that, but I got that vibe from her, and it was attacking me too. I'm glad that I initially said I wasn't going to do a reading for her. But because I'm in a situation that I'm involved in things that she's involved in, and I'm interested and concerned about the situation, I told her at the end of our talk, and this was like within 15 minutes of just jabbering, that I would sit with the information for a few days, and if I came up with some bits of, you know, uh, something important for her to know, I'd give her a call. I said, maybe we'll just get together and talk. And this is funny. She says, call me on my cell, which meant don't use any other of the phone numbers that I've got. Don't contact me any other way. But she wanted to keep this quiet. So I said, yeah, I got your cell phone. So um, it took me the rest of the day and part of the next day just to kind of clear out that static energy that I had collected from her without even trying. And I almost found myself pacing because of it. Now, the other person of authority that she was talking to me about um, was doing some very crazy things in the business, um, intimidating people, changing things, important things at the drop of a hat without discussion or, you know, being aware without letting anybody know ahead of time what was going on, and totally disrupting everything in the business. And this friend of mine just felt so helpless, and she was paired with this other woman. I mean, their authorities were equal, and they should have been working on these things together. And every time she tried to make that known to her co-worker, she would just get blasted with intimidation, with Um, it's like this energy spewed from the other woman at her. And I'm looking at the situation. I'm here. Okay, here's a major thing. Don't think you know what it is that you're wanting to find out from spirit. Because if you think you know what it is, you're going to try and make it that thing. So I'm thinking in my head, this other woman is somehow has taken on a lot of evil energy. She is trying to ruin the business. Um, she's keeping everything topsy-turvy on purpose. It's all this other woman's fault. And I'm trying to pick up information that um, cosigns that thought and what can be done about that. And I'm not getting anything. I'm not getting anything. The only thing I would get when I tried to tune into it would be all of this hairy energy that my friend was, sharing unknowingly, but she was sharing it. And I would get caught up into it again and I'd have to back off. So this went on for, I told her I'd call her in a couple of days. This went on for a couple of weeks. I wasn't getting anything. I thought, I can't call her and tell her I'm not getting anything. I just kept putting it off and I kept trying not to get wrapped up in it. Now, I don't know whether any of you have gone through this before or not. If it, you're so desperate to try and help somebody, but you're just not getting what it is. It's because you're trying to make it one thing, and that one thing is not even what it was. And it took a while for me to recognize that. And once I finally decided I'm not calling, I'm not doing this, she's going to have to deal with this herself. Once I decided that and I let go of it, it just hit me straight in the face that my friend, because of the situation that was going on, and it was like one of these instant things where the whole situation just came up real quick, like an explosion. When that initially hit, she was blown out of her body. Now, I have to preface this by saying she is a very, very kind, compassionate, spiritually balanced person. She would not hurt a flea. She wouldn't say anything negative about anybody. And I know that she works with her spiritual protocols. Now, she told me during this first rant that she knew she had to get back into her meditations and her spiritual practice. So she had been out of it for a while, and it was right about the same time that she got blasted. See, it's all kind of fitting together. And it was that first initial blast that blew her out of her body. Now, she's still tethered, she's still hanging on, but she's not centered and grounded in her body. Now, the last thing I told her at that particular time when she was doing the rant, I said, when you go home, I don't care what time it is, it could be midnight, take your shoes off, take your socks off, go outside and walk in the grass. Well, I do a lot of work in my garden. I said, I don't care. Take your shoes off, walk barefoot in your grass. 15 minutes. Do that. So I don't know whether she followed through with that or not. I believe she did because she was asking me for some assistance. And so what I told her, I believe she did. Now, it came to me then that because she was blown out of her body, everything that this other woman was doing was not jiving with my friend. It was all chaotic. It was a total confused state for her. And everything that's going on really is a result of her being blown out of the body. So what I'm going to be telling her, and the interesting thing is, I decided I finally would call her, so I went to go get her cell phone number, and I didn't have it. I couldn't find it. You know, I keep it in a little phone book. I keep all the important numbers in a phone book, thank God. But it wasn't there. Her business number was there, her email was there, but her personal cell phone number wasn't there. It took me over a week to find it. And I finally called her and we're getting together. So what I'm going to be telling her is some hard business. You're blown out of your body. Your number one concern is to get back fully centered and grounded, tied off, belted down, anchored with, the heaviest anchor you can find into the body. And then you go into your business with the sun shining from your heart center. All that beautiful sun energy, because the solar eclipse happened around that same time frame. But she's got to go in, and whenever she steps foot on that property of the business, she's going to have her light, and I'm going to say it as sunlight, has to be shining. On a sunny day, you just can't help but feel good. And she has to feel good when she goes there. And she has to be completely up. She has to be able to greet her employees and her coworkers and everybody involved in the business stronger and fresher and brighter than the woman that's bringing it down. She has to override, my friend has to override all of that. And the only way she can do that is to be fully anchored in her body. So that's her mandate now. That's what she's going to have to work on. And to tell you the truth, I don't know how to tell her to do that. I can give her a couple of examples, but it's all going to be through intention. It's all going to be on purpose. It's all going to be a labor of love for her. It may really be labor. It may be hard to continuously keep herself anchored in and high vibrations and very, very assertive. Just because we are compassionate spiritual people doesn't mean that we're wimps. And that's what the other woman is counting on, is that this friend of mine is a wimp, because she puts out that soft, loving, compassion energy. And that's where the problem is. She's got to go in here, sunlight, up vibration, happy, authoritative, and march on in there and take care of business. And to take care of business, she may have to eliminate some things. So we've got to be strong spiritual beings. When you think about it, the physical body and the earth plane that we live in is such a heavy, cumbersome, and slow vibration. And for us as a spirit being to decide to come into that setting, what were we thinking? It's not conducive to anything that we're prepared for. I think that's why we scream and cry when we're born, because, oh my God, what is this? But we're strong as spirit beings. We are so strong that we can conquer the third dimension. And we have to realize that being strong is not the opposite of being spiritual. Being spiritual doesn't mean you can't be strong. It means you must be both, because we're integrating all the things of who we are, the body, mind, and spirit. We have to be cohesive in that at all times, or we get blown out of our bodies. So, it's difficult And when I deliver this information to my friend, I'm going to have to really step back um, in the way I present to her, because I want to say, oh, it's going to be okay. You're just going to have to do this, but I'm going to have to be the strong one at that point and say, look, this is what you're going to have to do. I'm just going to tell it to you straight. I'm not going to try and um, you know flour over it or sugarcoat it. I'm just going to tell you what it is, and you're going to be left to figure it out and decide what you want to do about it. But I think so many of us get into situations like that, though, just by experiencing life in general, just living our own personal lives, we are caught up in situations like that. And sometimes our compassion can get us into trouble. Our empathy can get us into a really bad situation, and we take on all of that crud. And here, she took it all on, and then I was taking it on, and finally I got to a point, and I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't right. Something's weird here, and I don't like that feeling, and so I'm going to stop it. So we have to be able to be decisive, to be strong in our compassion and in our spiritualness. So this is pretty much what I'm going to be working with you on this month. This particular video here, the lesson part, is going to be kind of small. It's not one of the extended versions of what I normally talk about, but I felt like I wanted to share that concept with you and give you that whole example, and stop and look at your own life and see where you're at with all of this. Have you experienced these things over your lifetime? And have you actually integrated through it? Have you been able to pull yourself back into the body fully? I know I've had a lot of traumatic things go on over the years, and I've become very disconnected. And I allow myself to be there and experience it because it is part of my life. But I have to come to a certain point where I go, okay, that's enough now. I'm done with that. I've put it all into my cohesive person, and now here I am anchoring in again, and I'm going to move forward. It doesn't stop what you feel. It doesn't stop what happened. It only allows it to become integrated. And then we can step forward again in where we're going. So whatever's been going on in your life over the years, you may want to stop and look at, have I completely finalized all of that, and am I back in my body fully? We could have bits of ourselves flying all over the place, and just that one little string holding us to the physical. You can't be a whole person that way. And most important, considering this is the development class, you can't develop fully if you're not fully present. So this again is something that we talk about a lot, being present in the moment, but also being present in the body. And don't allow outside circumstances to override who you are. And who you are is a very spiritual, compassionate, strong individual. So I'm going to leave some things on the packet page that embraces this idea, some exercises and guided meditation. So take advantage of the whole thing, and we'll talk again soon.